Hello, I'm the Shadow Critic, and today I am reviewing the Tigger movie. Now you might be saying, Shadow Critic, you're a full-grown man, and you're reviewing the Tigger movie? You must have women throwing themselves at you. And your assumption is correct. After all, what woman wouldn't want to date an unsuccessful YouTuber who spends all day watching cartoons intended for children and who also doesn't have any money? That's like every woman's dream man. So the film starts off with the narrator trying to tell a story about Winnie the Pooh. However, Tigger is fed up with the fact that the focus is always on Pooh Bear, so instead he tries to take over the story and make the story about him instead. I wonder how the conversation between Tigger and Winnie the Pooh went when Tigger said he wanted to take over the movie.
I want my own movie, Pooh Bear. No way. I'm the star of the franchise and don't you forget it. We all do the work and you take all of the credit. You're just lucky that I let you be on my show at all. That's it, Winnie. I have had enough of your attitude. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Tigger, put that down, please. Ah! You can eat all the honey you want in hell, you fat bastard!
Wow, I guess Tigger was much darker than we all would have ever guessed. Now, the animation in this movie is beautiful, but I can't focus on it because Tigger is constantly jumping around the screen like Hunter Biden after doing 20 lines of coke.
The most wonderful thing about Tigger is I'm the only one.
Wait a minute, you're the only Tigger? Then how do you exist? Surely you have to have had a mother and a father who had sex and created you. How can you possibly be the only one of your species?
Well, actually, I don't have any parents. I was created in a lab by scientists. The government wanted to create human-animal hybrids, but gave up on the project after it turned out that the experiments gave us Tiggers an uncontrollable thirst for blood.
Oh, this review is turning out much darker than I thought it would. So Tigger decides to perform a home invasion on Winnie the Pooh. First he assaults him, then he destroys his possessions, and finally he wrecks his food supply, leaving him to starve to death over the winter. Now Piglet has a sign outside his house that seems to read, "Trespassers will be shot." Holy crap! Piglet's packing heat!
That's right, make one wrong move and I'll put a cap in your ass. This is one side order of bacon that doesn't go down easy.
Despite Piglet's attempt to defend himself by stockpiling weapons, Tigger breaks in anyway, assaults him, and then burns his property. God damn! Is Tigger supposed to be some kind of mafia boss that breaks into your house and burns your property if you don't pay him protection money? This movie is terrifying. In keeping with the mafia theme, Tigger then almost commits a murder. And no, I'm not joking, he literally almost crushes Eeyore to death with a boulder. On a side note, why does everyone else get an actual house and Eeyore just lives in a house made of a bunch of sticks? What kind of racism is this? No wonder Eeyore is so depressed all the time. So for some reason they decide to try and move the boulder. I don't know why. Eeyore's house is just made of sticks. It can just be rebuilt a few feet away in any direction. The equipment is so hard to operate that Winnie the Pooh starts to tear. Wait a minute, so Winnie the Pooh is just a teddy bear and not a real bear? So why does he need to eat honey? And how can he even digest it without any internal organs? Tigger says that he can move the boulder by bouncing. This is the second time that Tigger has almost murdered people in this movie, and I'm starting to think that it isn't accidental.
Everything's ruined, and all you can think about is bouncing.
But that's what Tiggers do best. Exactly. Unlike us.
What we're trying to say is that
We're not Tiggers.
Oh no! The dangerous, destructive maniac who moments ago almost killed us all, and who hasn't displayed any concern at all for our health and safety, is sad because we don't want to play with her.
Hey guys, it's me, Winnie the Pooh. Tigger has a gun to my head, and he says he's going to blow my head off if you don't subscribe to the Shadow Critic's channel. So please subscribe. I don't want to die. There's so much honey left uneaten.
Tigger sings a song about how sad he is, and then some squirrels with ironic timing turn up to rub it in. Tigger sings a song about how lonely he is, but that doesn't really make sense. Because aren't all of the animals in the 100-acre wood completely unique? I mean, how often have you seen a walking, talking, sentient teddy bear? I've only ever seen one. Roo then asks Tigger whether he has a family or not, and Tigger suddenly says that it's possible that other Tiggers exist.
I've got a mama. Don't you have a family somewhere too?
Why, that's ridiculous. I mean, ooh, a family full of Tiggers, you say? Can you imagine such a thing? Oh, you wish to find your family. A most noble quest indeed.
But wait a minute, you just sang an entire song about how you're the only one. The animals then try to repair Eeyore's house, and the movie wants us to think that this new one is a piece of crap. But honestly, his old one was just a pile of sticks, so I'm not sure this one's really that much worse.
Hello!
Hello!
Other Tiggers!
Other
Come out, wherever you are!
Come out,
Roaring,
come out.
etc.
Pooh Bear? I didn't know Tigger had a family.
Do you have a family? This movie is so unclear. Why is Tigger treated like the only one who's alone and doesn't have any family members, when as far as I know, except for the kangaroos, none of them have any family members. All of the animals of the 100-acre woods, as far as I know, are completely unique. I've never seen Winnie the Pooh with his parents or having said anything about having a brother or a sister or anything like that. So why are they treating Tigger like he's the only one that's unique, when as far as I know they're all unique? And when you think about it, even the kangaroos are pretty unique. I mean, there's only 2 of them, and how many kangaroos do you know that live in the woods and talk? I'm guessing the number's pretty slim. Tigger then tells Roo about an extremely powerful bounce he's mastered. A super bounce, if you will. Roo finds a necklace in Tigger's closet, and Tigger says that he inherited it from his family, despite the fact he earlier on said he didn't have a family and sang an entire song about how he was the only Tigger. This movie is very inconsistent with what Tigger knows and what he doesn't. Piglet and Pooh decide to help Tigger out by independently conducting a search for his family. But halfway through the search, Pooh gets distracted by something more important than helping out his friend. Food. So Winnie climbs into the tree to try and get the honey, but unfortunately it's guarded by bees and they sting him. I'm honestly kind of surprised he didn't see that one coming. But Winnie comes up with a plan to defeat the bees. He starts to sing them to sleep.
Rest your wings till the morning light.
Oh come on, that would never work in real life.
Lullaby, lullaby, safe tonight. Just dream and...
NANI?
Yeah, sorry, the review, yes. After Pooh lovingly lures the bees to sleep, he steals all of their honey, leaving the bees to starve to death over the winter. Yeah, that's right, he's a fat bastard. This movie is obsessed with honey, but it doesn't even know how it works. Honey isn't water. It doesn't just run off whatever object it touches. It's sticky, it's not water. Tigger writes his family a letter and puts it in the post box. A wind comes and blows it away, and I guess that means it was delivered? I mean, that's what Tigger seems to think, so I guess I'll just go with that.
Oh, what am I kidding myself? They're not coming.
Well, it's only been half a day since the wind delivered your letter, so maybe you should give it a little bit more time. Incidentally, How is it possible that it went from mid-autumn to heavy snowfall in half a day? Movie, you need to learn how the weather works. Tigger is depressed that he's alone, so the animals decide to do what any good friends would do in that situation. They lie to him and impersonate his family by forging a letter. Now at first the plan goes well because Tigger's happy, but unfortunately Tigger seems to think that his family are going to come and visit him in a day, despite the fact the letter doesn't say anything about a visit. So instead of just asking Tigger if they could read the letter, and then pointing out that it doesn't say anywhere that anyone is coming to visit, they decide to do the sensible thing. They decide to paint themselves to look like Tigger so they can impersonate his family in person. Well, I can't see this plan going wrong. Wait a minute, they paint themselves to look like Tiggers? That's Tigger Face! Tigger stripes are not a costume for you to appropriate.
Also...
Oh, thank goodness I found you all here. There's a terrible storm headed for... What on earth are you doing? Have you lost your minds? You should be covering the windows, counting your supplies, gathering firewood. Winter is here, and you aren't even ready. What are you doing, wasting your time?
Oh, thank Jesus! Finally, a sensible person. But unfortunately, Rue decides that making Tigger happy is more important than having food and heat throughout the winter.
Wait! We gotta do it! We have to do it! Think how sad Tigger's gonna feel!
So the animals decide to head to Tigger's house to impersonate his family. And Tigger is so dumb, he actually falls for this trick. So at first it's going well, but then Rue decides that he wants to try the super bounce. Now, they could have avoided doing the super bounce altogether because Tigger never offered to do it. And even if he did ask them to do it, they could have said something like, oh, it's too dangerous for us to do, we don't do it anymore. But Rue decides to offer it. So Rue does the bounce, but unfortunately in doing so, he gives away his secret identity. This demasking scene is even more shocking than when Harry Osborn demasked Spider-Man. Tigger says that his real family is out there, and that he's going to find them. So he decides to leave forever.
TTFE. Ta-ta. Forever.
Well, now you're all going to die over the winter season, and it was all for nothing.
You gotta help me find Tigger. It's all my fault. I never would have left if it wasn't because of me. You gotta go find him. We just gotta.
Yeah, I also miss the way he used to endanger our lives with his complete disregard for the safety of others. So they send out a search party to find Tigger, and just in case you're wondering, no, they still haven't gathered any firewood or food for the winter, so even if they do find him, they're still going to die almost immediately afterwards anyway. The group starts to argue and Tigger shouting calls this an avalanche. It seems like death has finally come to claim the group. But Tigger reaches down deep and decides to perform some heroics. Tigger sadly dies, saving his friends from the avalanche. Tigger, today we honor your sacrifice. I present you with my salute. No, of course the movie doesn't have what it takes to actually kill Tigger. Instead, Rue saves him using the super jump. Well, I have to be honest, I didn't think that the last 5 minutes of this movie would become an anime, but there you have it. Rue and Tigger have apparently unlocked Ultra Instinct. The avalanche stops and the animals are saved, but Tigger is still depressed because he's all alone and he has no family. But then, like Moses descending from the mountain, Christopher Robin appears in a glowing white light. And he brings with him heavenly wisdom. He points out that Tigger already has a family, the animals of the 100-acre woods. Thank you, Christopher Robin. Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. We are not worthy. And so the movie has a happy ending after all. Now the question is, what do I actually think of the movie? Well, I have to be honest. The songs aren't very good. They're not memorable and they're not catchy. This is a Disney movie, so I'm kind of surprised that the songs are so awful. They're really just not good. Tigger has a bad voice, and the lyrics are awful. On the positive side of things, the characters all have pretty unique movements. Tigger moves differently from Pooh, Pooh moves differently from the kangaroo. They all have unique movements, which makes them feel more realistic. The colouring of the movie is really nice, the winter looks really beautiful, and there's a good moral lesson about family in there. So you can show this movie to your kids and not worry about them getting a bad moral lesson. Speaking of which, this movie was probably created mostly for little children. It doesn't seem like there's a lot in there for adults. Kids will probably find it entertaining enough, but adults probably won't find it super entertaining. Nonetheless, if you're an adult, do I recommend you watching this movie? Well, if it's a cold winter night and you're looking for something sweet and sentimental with beautiful animation, this movie is probably going to hit the spot. I'm the Shadow Critic and I gotta go.